Because here we have, we see it clear as day, that lawyers acting on behalf of charities and indeed a civil service union have delayed the first flights to Rwanda.
Yes.
So sadly, your optimism stroke naivety in trusting the government that it would act as a deterrent has been blown out of the water.
I still make the same case that I made last week, which is that it will be a deterrent when it starts working. Now, it's not my fault if there's a load of lawyers getting in the way. The government should be able to get around that.
What we can agree is at the moment it's not happening.
No.
I fear that it may never happen. And what I think is particularly outrageous is that you've got a civil service union, right, who use taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
They use taxpayers' resources,
funded entirely by the taxpayer.
And their officials get time off at the taxpayers' expense to go to union meetings, and that union, in a sense, completely in contradiction of the wishes of the ministers, the duly elected representatives, the duly elected government of the day, and they are going against that, and I think that's absolutely appalling.
I'm sorry, what business is it of a trade union to fight against the government policy? What is that all about?
Well, I think if it's a trade union for one of the other industries, for example, but if it's for the civil service, whose role is to be impartial and carry out the wishes of the elected government of the day, then I think it's wholly inappropriate, and I think serious questions need to be asked.
But I would say the trade union's job, surely, is to service its employees, the people who work for it, its members, if you like.
Correct.
The people who pay money into it to keep it going for their own interests. It's got no business getting involved in external legal activity which has nothing to do with their members, surely.
I think that's absolutely right, unless they act as a lobby group because they know that's the wishes of their members and their members want them to lobby on their behalf. That's a whole different world. But the idea of consuming taxpayers' cash, I think is completely wrong. And I think that the government need to call them out on.
And it's wholly inappropriate. And so what happens now that these legal cases have been sort of
Well, it seems as though
formulated?
the flights have been delayed. They've said to beyond, I think, June the 6th. But essentially, don't hold your breath, anybody, because I suspect it'll be delayed, and there'll be more cases. And in a sense, I think there'll be more and more people coming across the channel over the calmer summer period. And, we know every boat that comes over, that is a £1 million liability, give or take. If there's 50 people in a boat, 20 grand a pop, that's £1 million liability within 12 months on the British taxpayer, at a time when we all know we've got a cost of living crisis. We keep being told by the government, I think wrongly, that they can't afford to do anything to help people on this cost of living crisis, and yet we're racking up these liabilities.
And I'm
so
told,
I think it's completely and utterly wrong.
You've read this as well. You know, this town up north where they're thinking of sending 1,500 immigrants to an army base, which is no longer in use, somewhere on Ouse, is it Herman on Ouse or something like that?
Yes.
Apparently Serco were at some meeting up there the other day, and they were assuring everybody that don't worry, we'll be giving medical supplies and we'll be giving medical treatment to anyone that comes to the camp. And you go, well, you still can't get a doctor's appointment in most parts.
Just down the road.
You can't get any kind of medical procedure. We did a story yesterday that you've got a pretty good chance when they do an operation on the NHS that you'll end up with a couple of bolts left inside you when you come out.
I think people's increasing concern is that so much of the public services don't work. It seems the only thing that does work is the ability, in a sense, for this for the illegal migrants coming across the channel to process them and to keep them here in the UK. That's the only thing that seems to work these days.
Well, I mean, Serco's doing fine, thank you very much indeed.
Making huge profits.
I've always said
the vested interests this side of the channel are much greater than the profits being made by the hideous people smugglers. Whether it's the lawyers, the human rights people, people working for the charities,
the hotels,
the Sercos, the hotels.
Because all these hotels wouldn't be full at this time of the year necessarily, but they're full now.
So there's a massive, massive gravy train, and as more people come over, so it grows. And we just want our public services to work properly.
Yeah, that's not asking too much, is it?
No, I don't think it is. When we're paying the highest taxes for 70 years, and as I keep saying, you don't mind paying for a decent quality product. But when you're paying through the nose for a product that actually doesn't work...
Yes.